You talk about, at the moment, different corners of the bureaucracy are responsible for childcare, protecting children and the health of children. Are they still going to be in separate departments under this change you're talking about?
Well, look, what I'm really keen to do is firstly get a vision for what Australia wants for its children and a framework and some measurable outcomes. At the moment, we have departments pulling in different directions. We have states and territories and the Commonwealth often pulling in different directions, and we need really to get everyone pulling in the same direction. I don't have any firm ideas of which line department they sit in or how they work together, but what I want them to do is all be pulling in the same direction with the outcomes being measured so that we can actually deliver. Now, this isn't a new concept. New Zealand went down this path and released their child and wellbeing strategy in 2019. States and territories, to differing extents, have these types of strategies, but as a country, we don't. And I do think it's time we have one.
But is it worth putting on the table the prospect of a department devoted to, say, everything to do with children, childcare, health, as you mentioned, child care protection? Would it make sense, if you've got a bureaucratic concern, to put them in one department?
Well, look, I'm open to suggestions. My absolute focus is to get a strategy, if we're elected, up and running, working together working for the same outcomes. That is what I'd like to see. So, look, I'm open to suggestions. We're going to get people around the table, the departments that are responsible, the people that have the programs. In New Zealand, they were managed to get 20 different departments to be working in the same direction, to come together to set up a framework, to set up measurable outcomes. So that is something I think that Australia really needs, and it's time we get on with that.
20 different departments sounds like a bureaucratic nightmare to me, but
yeah.
Anyway, I guess we'll see where the review goes. Look, what a lot of parents want to know for now in this area is about the costs of childcare. They're still, I think, the biggest concern for a lot of people out there. We've got the two competing plans on the table at the moment. So what's your best example? When a voter comes to you and you don't know anything about their background or how many kids they have or what they're spending, what's your best example of how a family under Labor would be better off? Specific examples on costs.
Well, under Labor, we will have 97% of families using the system will get some relief under Labor's plan. Under the Coalition's plan, only if you have 2 children or 3 children in childcare at any one time will you get any relief. That means that 75% of families using the system won't get any extra subsidy under the Liberals' policy, and they will under Labor. So our policy is helping many more families with the cost. When you look at specific income brackets, we're lifting the rate of subsidy for every income bracket. So whether you're low-income families, middle-income families or higher-income families.
Yeah, the biggest discrepancy between Labor and the Coalition is $250,000 plus for a household income. That's where Labor's plan, that the biggest divergence occurs, right?
Not under comparing the two systems currently. That has now changed with the Coalition's plan. They are also removing the cap. So look, really, we are helping everyone along the whole income, including the lowest income families. Whereas the Coalition is keeping that at 85% subsidy, we will be increasing it to 90% subsidy if you've got a child in childcare. So we're actually helping people right across the income scale.
Yeah. You mentioned 75% of families wouldn't benefit from the Coalition's plan. That figure, though, is that in any given year versus over the lifetime of parents? Because you'd imagine more than 25% of parents have 2 children in childcare at some point.
We have been asking the department for that information. We have not been able to get it. What that is based on is the figures the government... Yeah, the government put this figure out there. The government put the figure out there of the million families that use childcare, only 25% will get relief in any 1 year. But if we look at the lifetime... In any 1 year. If we look at the lifetime...
So it's higher over the lifetime of
using
parents, though. It would be a higher figure over a parent's lifetime, right?
Families will be much better under Labor than they will under the Coalition, and this is why the Coalition doesn't want to release this information. We were told by the department it would be too hard to collate that information about what was the length of time any parent had 2 children in childcare at any one time. Because, of course, under Labor, you get support for each child the whole time they're in childcare. Under the Liberal Party, you only get it for a short period of time.
The big unanswered question for people, even those supporting Labor's plan, is where the workers come from. Is there an answer to that, and are they going to be paid more, as you pledged last election?
Well, look, this is a really big challenge at the moment. The government has yet to release its workforce strategy. My understanding is there is a workforce strategy, but it is still not available to the public. So I would like to see the details of that workforce strategy, but it is something we need to look at carefully. It's something that I'm talking with my colleagues about. We're not planning to go to the election, this election, with the same policy that we went to at the last election when it comes to educators' wages, but we are certainly looking at how we meet the demand of educators, because we know there is a shortage and action needs to be taken very quickly. So just to clarify the last point, no pledge at all on wages this time? We're not taking the policy that we had to the last election to this next election.
Yeah, but you're not taking any... I know that policy, that was a 20% pay rise, but are you taking any policy on a pay rise?
I'm continuing to obviously talk with my colleagues about childhood policy, but at the moment that is certainly not our plan. We are looking at other ways in which we can ensure educators are able to, we're able to attract educators.